Hi everyone, and that's my video response to our week 5 activity on constructivism, and I'm very excited actually because this is one of my favorite series so far. So I decided to explain how I used principles of constructivism in my classrooms. And specifically with children at pre-operational stage, according to Piaget, that's 2/7 years old. So that's my favorite age group. So I used to work with this age since I started, so I do know them quite well. And personally speaking, I think that I love the idea. At first I fell in love with ideas of Piaget. The moment I've read about his child's like observations and how he promoted child's agency and active learning in prepared environment and looked at the child as a scientist, I thought this is it. This is what I really wanted to like to promote as a teacher, and this is something that I really value: discovery, exploration, and self-learning through hands-on experiences. And I also had a feeling that direct instruction, or rather didactic teaching, is not physically appropriate for all children at this stage of development. So I noticed that many of us struggled sitting in the classroom and listening to instructions, and then doing paperwork or worksheets and working on our tasks individually. But I think of more discovery learning the observed in Montessori classroom is more appropriate. Yes, so I was lucky to attend a couple of interesting schools, Montessori based, and I've seen that their learning is a bit different. So children seem to construct their knowledge by themselves, with of course a lot of support and guidance from the teachers. So I thought that this is it. Yeah, this is something that I love to do. So as a teacher, I supported children's discovery and constructing their own meaning through my teaching practice. So by setting up environments and provocations with something to stimulate their mind. It might be visuals that I would put on the wall, might be just table activities that encourage discovery. So something intriguing, exciting, and new. I thought that this stimulating environment will provoke a lot of questions and provoke active discovery learning, which it did. Even if I teach children to read, or I teach them numeracy at this early stage of their life, I still think that you have to apply constructivism principle of learning as an active process. Although they don't know anything about numeracy and literacy as you might think, if you dig deeper, you will find out that they already have a lot of funds of knowledge, as we call it. And the idea of them having prior knowledge is another principle that I highly value as an educator. So I believe that children come with some background to us. So they have grandparents, they have neighbors, they have other children, they have television, mass media, iPads, iPhones, and internet, and also they have their parents as their primary teachers. So of course they already heard something, they've learned something, been exposed to some books, especially if we are not working with babies. But you would be surprised, even babies know a lot these days. And I think that because of this prior knowledge being valued by constructivists, both Piaget and Vygotsky and Dewey, of course, you can build on it. So you can encourage children to share this knowledge with others and to feel more welcome. And I think it's really a great thing about constructivism. So after I actually fell in love with Piaget, I also discovered Vygotsky, and Vygotsky, some pronounce his surname as Vygotsky, but because I'm from his background, I know that he was Vygotsky, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so Vygotsky, it's now hard for me to switch. So he really valued learning as a social activity. And being an extrovert, an extroverted teacher, I discovered that children actually like to share the process of learning with others. So again, intuitively, yeah. And then 10 years ago, people started to talk more about Vygotsky and idea of zone of proximal development and the idea of scaffolding, which wasn't his term that he coined, but it's highly based on his ideas. And then we had an excursion to Monash University kindergarten center, and then I went to different schools as well, and I could see that people started to apply the ideas of social constructivism as in forms of small group activities, learning circles, reciprocal teaching, and I could see that it is really interesting and definitely progressive. Yeah, so I think interacting with others, by interacting with others, children learn a lot. And now I will provide, so that's an overview. So now I will provide an interesting example of how we learned something, or how we learned something with constructivism. So I recall the very interesting case that I had to work with. It was a child who was very active. So he was so active that it would disturb other children. Yeah, so he was opinionated. He was aggressive at some stages. So it was a bit hard to fit him in the curriculum. So we developed a behavioral plan for him and we followed it through. But I still could see that there are some problems, and I thought that I will try to apply the principles of constructivism, both psychological and social, and find out more about him. So I learned about his background a lot, and I discovered that he's pretty active at home, and he likes animals, and he likes being active and challenged, and he is kind of a child who is talented and gifted even to some extent, but in some domains, but his social domain was underdeveloped. So I thought that based on what he already knows and loves, I will make him a leader and will pair him up with other children, get him involved in small group learning where he would be leading, and he would be providing feedback to other children, but basically teaching them to do some stuff. And it turned out he actually quite liked it, and because he liked it so much, he could be an expert and leader, and his behavior started to improve day by day. So we had quite a few outbreaks and had to do interventions. But I would say that constructivism, yeah, and its principles, especially the principle of how people learn together, so there's a social activity, and learning being an active process, actually helped me to cope with not so easy scenario and include this child, and also make learning for everyone pleasant and effective, and basically enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to see your video responses. I know you are busy preparing your presentations, but if you will find at least 5 minutes, like I did 10 minutes, and post your response on constructivism, this will be great.